Welcome to the Mind of Business Success podcast. I'm your host, Alicia Kramer. Our guest today is Therese Skelly. She's a business intuitive. I am super excited to have this conversation. I kind of want to just have you all to myself, but I am excited to share you with my listeners. So welcome to the show.
Thank you. We can do both. You can have me to yourself and then we can share that with the listeners, right? So thank you, Alicia. I'm delighted to be here.
What is a business intuitive?
Yes, that is a good question. Well, first of all, let me tell you, I started as a psychotherapist and then I moved into business coaching. And along the way, I started noticing that I knew stuff that wasn't just Freudian. It wasn't just, and I'm like, what is this? And so it took me a lot of years to understand, like, oh my God, my ninja skills, my magic gift is just, I can zero in on what's blocked and what's possible and what needs to happen. So I use my intuition to help people grow their businesses, right? So I'm an intuitive and that's how I use it.
I love it.
Thank you.
So good. We all could use an on-call business intuitive.
Yeah.
And I tell you what, I have been busting through old limiting beliefs and old emotional wounds for so many years.
Yeah.
But it is an ongoing process. And we just continue to bump up against old stuff every time we up level, anytime we are stretching outside of our comfort zone. So let's talk a little bit about some of the common challenges that your clients are experiencing.
Well, I love that you start with that because I think people have this like, but I already worked on that. When is it going to be done? And I go like this. I'm like, do you still have a pulse? Yeah, you're not done, right? Because the people that you and I attract are the people that know in their soul they're here for more. And when we go for that, like, okay, more impact, more influence, more income, more reach, then all the things that are not resonant with that new level, they got to go, right? And most often, Alicia, they're unconscious. So that's the kind of bitch of it, because it's like, wait, I'm doing all the actions. I could do all the activities. So what my people see and they bump into is like, why is it taking so long? I'm super clear. But I'm doing everything. Like I hired the mentor. I got the copywriting. I'm doing all the mailing. Rick, what is the deal? And what I know is, I had a client session yesterday, a very successful woman, completely captured, had great months and then stopped, great months and stopped. And what it was is some ancestral things, right? Grandparents lost all their money. So she had no understanding. Oh, hark, I better lose my money because that's what my grandparents did. But energetically, she was sort of hostage. This is like the epigenetics. This stuff comes through the DNA. So it's like, I'm making money and I'm losing money, or I'm doing a business, but I don't love it. It's working, but I really want to do this, but I'm terrified to do that because I'm making money doing this and I'm known for this. And like, but your soul is crying for more. So it's kind of like that. Like they want more for themselves and they're just capped. They're not able to get through those blocks.
So now once you uncover that, once you become aware that there is that energetic blockage there, then what? So
I have a 4-step process. And I don't usually think process, but in the world of energy, and like it works to have a little bit of a flow, right? So the first thing is it's aligned to what the desire is. So that's the first piece. Like, are you aligned to what your desire is? The second one is, well, let's clear what's like with my client yesterday. Like, okay, we got to clear that. Her desire is to bring in $100,000 a month. Yeah, no, you're not clear to do that. Okay, so then we clear. Then after that, the piece is, who do you have to be? That's called the embodiment piece of it. Because the you that brought in 20,000 is a different version than the you that will be bringing in 100,000. So it's like getting that embodiment, that identity piece. And then after that, it's like, now what do you have to do? That's the implementation, the activation. Notice that's the fourth one on the and they just circle around, right? So we're like, okay, you're clear. Okay, now what actions do you take from this place? We know what actions you were taking and not working from the other place. So now you have a new possibility. When I do the clearing, people are like, oh my God, I feel so much lighter. And I'm like, okay, now to some new actions. So that's the circle of it.
Well, you made a point that you made it so quick but I've got to go back
Oh, good.
and talk a little bit more about it, because I think it is so relevant to probably the majority of people listening to this interview right here, right now, because this is something that we all do, even those of us who know better, myself included. I'm absolutely 100% guilty of this. We're not aligned and we can feel it.
Yeah.
And yet we try to out action our misalignment.
Ooh, I just got goosebumps. That is exquisitely stated. Yeah.
So when we are doing all this stuff and we're not achieving the desired outcome, at what point should someone recognize, I've got to come at this from a different angle?
Yeah. So you presuppose here that people are in observance of themselves and feeling their misalignment. Because if you're just living from here, and if you're just looking at your spreadsheets, if you're just like, you could miss it until your body starts breaking down, until you start getting sick, until you start like snapping at your kids for no reason, right? So the number one is, do you know what alignment feels like? I would start there. And so it's a state, right? When we're aligned, we're like alive, it's flow, it's effortless. It's like, oh my God, I can't believe I'm getting paid for this. What? Like stuff happens like that. And so the question is, why would you tolerate anything less? I would look at that like, hark. Now, maybe you're in a situation where I have to have that income coming in at this point. I can't, and I still would challenge that, right? But that's probably the story. So number one, can you feel alignment? Number two, why are you tolerating anything less? Number three, what's your story about why it can't happen? Because we're all in a story. We get really myopic. Like, well, this is the only thing that can sell. Is that true? So I poke holes around that.
I love that. And there's a lot of people who haven't really been living in alignment. Yeah, they've been living in fear. They've been living in scarcity. They've been living in stress. It's kind of the programmed belief that as a business owner, it's just all about doing and going and working, 10, 12-hour days. And that's just the nature of business. So when someone is reaching for what alignment feels like, and I loved how you brought that into the conscious forefront, and you're explaining so perfectly that it's that feeling, it's that good feeling, it's that in the flow feeling, which we've all experienced at different times in our life. And for most people, if they're making any money in their business, they have experienced it.
Right.
Now, the challenges that are sort of those stories that you're talking about, right? The ones that seem so real, so justifiable.
You have to work harder if you want to get ahead. Like,
I can't do this because, and I have so much evidence to prove that this isn't just a mindset thing. This isn't just right. So now when you're encountering that type of story, and you mentioned poking holes in it, I want to talk a little bit about how that can help to break down the mind's sort of incessant grip on that old limiting story.
Okay. Where do I start? So let's just say not every moment in business is bliss. We all do things that are like, ugh, crap, I got to do the PowerPoint. You know what I mean? And so it's what are you measuring, right? So you could work 20 hours and just like be, making the donuts basically, but the overarching is in the alignment, right? So I want you to understand, like, what's the overarching, because we all have moments in our life where it's just kind of sucky, it's kind of mundane, but I'm doing it in service of X. And so number one, do you have in service of, do you have that thing? So when I would poke at the stories, I would ask, my very favorite question is it true? Like, there's a narrative out there that the only way you can make more money is to put more hours in and work harder. Like, the hustle grind culture. Is that true? Now, maybe for you, absolutely, like that's all you know. but maybe you can see other people. Maybe you can look at Alicia, and like Alicia's got a beautifully leveraged business. Like, huh? Right? Like you could look at other people and say, huh, is it true for anybody else in the world that they do it a different way? So you open like, oh, maybe again, it's not your lived experience, but start being like, I'm willing to see something differently. You got to be willing to be willing, right? So I'm willing to see, show me examples. And then stick that in your little reticular activating system. And just like, that's what I'm on the filter for. I'm looking for it. And it's like, oh my God, oh my God. So then you'll start getting data points of like, it's possible. And I'm not a believer of, Alicia, like just jump off a cliff. I'm a believer in just angle slightly, just take tiny little new actions and just test it and test it. And then be playing. So there's the action and then the identity. Okay, who would I have to be? To me, I think we probably live a lot in the same. You got to have faith. There's a spirituality. There's a trust in the universe. Like if you have a desire, gotta come, right? So there's like, can you tap into something greater than you? Is there a higher self? Is there a soul? Is there the universe, whatever you call that, that would support this new way of being for you? So that's kind of a multimodal approach to go after it.
I think that a person's ability to practice faith is incredibly powerful. And I am a firm believer in the power of the mind, and our beliefs become self-fulfilling prophecies.
100%. Yes.
But there is something to be said about the fact that a lot of what has occurred in our life, referring very specifically to the blessings and the abundance and all the good things, are things we couldn't possibly plan
100%. Yes.
And
so
they're
remembering that, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
Tracking, like, whoa, I really was carried, or I was guided, or wow, look at all the support that was there. Because we feel like I'm in charge of the universe, and if it's meant to be, it's up to me. That used to be my deal, right? As opposed to, okay, this is my desire. I have no idea how this is going to play out, but I'm going to start listening for just the little nudges, just a little. Really, I'm supposed to call that? Okay, I'll call that person. Really, I'm supposed to write that post? Okay, scary. I'll write that post. That's how it goes. You just listen, and then you eventually will be guided.
I can speak to some really amazing things happening in my life. And so when I'm bumping up against one of my old stories, I frequently have to remind myself of how amazing my life has been, how blessed, in spite of really terrible early years in my life, in spite of my own deep-rooted self-sabotaging patterns for a large portion of my life, that even the times when I was not in my alignment, there still were things that happened on my behalf to support me through that period.
Such a beautiful, yes.
And so when we're talking about clearing blocks and we're talking about, getting stuck and getting in your own way, sometimes people have this idea that, oh man, I'm fucked, right? I am so out of alignment. I'm so out of whack. It's the ship's going down.
We've all felt that, but yes, you're right.
But if you are willing to look for the evidence that even in some of the hardest times, you've survived, you've come out of it.
Yeah.
Even when you were technically in a really crappy mental, emotional, vibrational state, and therefore, by the laws of the universe, right, law of attraction, you're not exactly creating, the best circumstances in your life. And still, the universe, God, whatever you want to say, is able to sneak in some good things. And now the reason that I want to say this is because I know that someone needs to hear it. Someone needs to hear, it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
And then when I can do my work and I can work with someone like yourself or whoever, I can really go deep into those things, and I can really do some heavy duty cleanup work that is going to help get me to that next level and break through some of this stuff. But even if I am in the midst of my mental fuckery, as I like to call it, everything is still going to be okay.
So what I'm hearing, a great exercise is to reflect back, maybe note, journal. Wow, I thought I was not going to survive that. And look where I am today, right? Lisa, anytime a boyfriend has broken up with me, I'm heartbroken. And then I'm like, holy shit, I got a better one. Like, I really see, like, there's always upgrades. And I remember like 2009 or 10, I went through a bankruptcy and I was devastated. Like, it was a very long and painful process. And I used to have a friend that every day she would call me and I would pray with her. She was a minister. And she'd say, I know you don't feel it, but can we give thanks that this is already done and it's fine? And I couldn't. So I had to have another person say, it's going to be okay. It is okay. It is okay. Like, I've got a light bulb on. I got food. Yeah, I'm going to lose some shit. Like, and I remember when I was going through bankruptcy, because you focus on, I don't have the money. And this one day, I think I must have gotten a Costco, like 48 pack of toilet paper or something. Right. And I had this, like, excuse the bad pun, I'm like, I have a shit ton of toilet paper. Like it was this, like, I have an abundance of something. And then I have abundance of love. Oh my, look at all these people that love me. And I have an abundance of beautiful nature. Like, I focused on the thing that I didn't think I had. So that's also it, right? When you're like, this is okay, but there's a part of me that knows, like, there's another version of me that knows how to be wealthy. There's another, so if you have the desire, it already exists. What? And so you can get stuck in, but I'm here, it's hard. And then go, wait, there's another part of me. What's it going to feel like when it's already done? What's it going to feel like when it's here? Ooh, okay. And that's how you shift.
I love that. And I am coaching my clients on these things all the time. They really are transformational principles.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's easy to forget. It's easy to get caught into the old subconscious programming and to fall into feeling like the victim or feeling disempowered or defaulting to your old story of woe on whatever the subject is.
Yeah.
But if we can pull ourselves out of that moment and we can shift that energy, like you so beautifully just shared,
right?
And you can get yourself into the vibration of having, of abundance, of love, of how is it going to feel when you have that improved situation. Not only does that change your energy, obviously it changes your mindset, but each and every time you do that, you are reconditioning your mind to default to reality, the new empowering way of perceiving this situation versus the old disempowering way of perceiving.
And what you said earlier, I think when we started the show, there's a lot of people that the country is kind of a shit show right now. There's a lot of fear and division and distrust and a lot of, like, the machine is designed to keep you constantly in fear and, oh my God. And you don't have to play there. Like, you really don't. And so a lot of the work I teach my clients is this yours or somebody else's? Truth. Is this energy of fear? Is it, I'm feeling afraid. Is it mine? Oh, no. Oh, shoot. There's just now a new war. Oh, that's what that fear is. So you want to be discerning, and you literally can just ask your body, truth, mine or somebody else's? Step out of it. So in this time specifically, you don't have to have a whole bunch of energy tools, but if you feel off, if you can just go, whoa, that's not my, do you know you can shift your state? What? Like, you don't have to feel anxious. You don't have to, perhaps if you have a biological thing going on, but you literally can say, what did it feel like when I had joy? Oh, boom, lock it in. You have more control over your moods and your energy than, because we don't practice that. We're like, oh my God, everybody's upset. Oh, there's a pandemic. Oh God. And you don't I had a beautiful pandemic. No bullshit. And that's not to minimize the loss and the suffering, but I chose not to be afraid. I chose to, no, I'm going to have joy. I'm going to flourish because I would not allow all the stuff to And you have the power to do that. So whatever you're in, you have the power to choose how you be. And for some people, like, wait, but what? Like, you might be surprised, but you actually do. Any given moment, you have the choice.
It's true. We can always access a memory,
Mm-hmm.
a memory
Yes.
of feeling abundant, a memory of feeling
Yes.
safe, a memory of feeling love.
Yeah.
And when we are able to focus on that and cultivate that feeling, and that's a technique that we use in hypnosis.
Mm.
So you remember the feeling of love, you remember it, or whatever the feeling is.
Mm-hmm.
And your mind, because it's all stored in your subconscious, can easily recollect that feeling. It's a known in your subconscious mind. Once you recall that feeling, you immediately begin to experience that feeling. And then you just sort of layer on, bring in some more of those memories, more of those feelings. It doesn't even matter what the memories are. It's not about the memories. It's about the memory triggering the emotional state. And then you just sort of pile it on, pile it on, pile it on. And the more positive momentum you get on that, the easier it is for you to stay in that new state for a longer period of time.
It takes work, though.
It does take
it's a mental discipline. And most of us, our set point is habituated to the past, the trauma, the potential for bad. You know, I know your people know this, but your brain is not your friend. Hello, your brain is designed to keep you safe. And so you're going to hear all the like, oh my God, the economy, the sky, oh my God, and she's going to, and all the like the working heart of your brain. Your brain doesn't want you self-actualized. It doesn't give two shits about your emotional world. Like your brain is like, oh God, don't cross the street. Somebody could hit you, right? So if you understand all the mental activity in your brain, you got to learn the tools. I know Alicia teaches them. I teach them, like, how do you not be a hostage to the thoughts? Because the thoughts, people will be like, I want to do this, but there's so much fear. It's a sign from God. No, God doesn't work that way. God wants you like live and enjoy. Your brain's like, fear, shut it down. You could get rejected. Are you kidding? No, God, you'll die. And so the thing is, like, you just got like, if somebody comes to my door in this moment, the dog's going to bark because he's designed to alert. Hey, something's going on. Something's going on. And that's what your thoughts are. So if you can reframe it like, that's so adorable. Like, you're just trying to alert me. Shh, you're so cute. Go lay down. See, I have mastery in that moment. I'm not like, oh God, nobody's going to buy from me. It's going to be horrible. I'm just like, whoa, hey, stop the fucking barking. That's one of my easiest, quickest tools, right? Understand that your thoughts are just trying to alert. That's all. Don't wrestle with them. Just like, shh, just like you would do a barking dog, right?
Yes, yes. I think we all know of or have a sweet grandma who is the worrier.
Oh, yes.
You know, it's like our mind is that.
Yes,
like,
yes.
Nothing is safe. Be extra careful. Don't do that.
You're going out without a coat. Oh my God, you'll get sick. Exactly. Yeah. Yes. I might have done that to my children. Who knows?
It's a great metaphor for everyone to put it into perspective. So when the fear starts to kick up, you can be more objective about what you're feeling, what these thoughts are actually, where they're coming from, and what their sort of underlying purpose is. And I love how you said that's not God. That's not divine guidance.
Yes.
We all know of someone who is very fearful, and we know that something is perfectly safe, and they are absolutely hell-bent. No, it is not. And that's kind of like what the mind is doing in many cases. Now, that doesn't mean that sometimes your inner guidance isn't saying, hey, dumbass, don't do that.
Exactly. That needle you're going to stick in your arm, you know what I mean? Not a good idea.
Right.
but if you want to move forward, it's in the context of like, I want to raise my rates. I want to elevate myself. I want to create a podcast. I want to, everybody's going to hate you. Nobody believes you. Tony Robbins already did it. Alicia already says that. Who are you? Like, those are the thoughts that are those literally steal your beautiful creation. And so I'm like a shame buster, like, get those thoughts out of there. That's the reason we want to do that.
Well, I would love for you, Therese, to share with our listeners how they can connect with you, because I know the work that you do is really valuable and so truly helpful for people who they know they need to clean up some stuff. They know that there is some stuff that is getting in the way of their heart's desires, their hopes, their dreams, their aspirations. So how can our listeners connect with you?
Beautiful. Well, my website is Therese Skelly. My Instagram is Therese Skelly, and my Facebook is Therese Kelly. And I have there's a free visualization meditation that I do, Alicia, and it's really yummy. It's basically connecting with the soul of your business. I'm all about the soul. And I believe that your business is an expansion of and an expression of you. So of course it has a soul as well. So it's this beautiful, like 20-minute visualization just to help you access information that might be different. It's a different way. Most people aren't tapping into the soul of their business, right? And so you just go to thereseskelly.com/soul, SOUL, and you'll get that access. And so it's a sweet product. People really like that.
Love that. I want to thank you so much. This has been a great conversation. I know we just scratched the surface, but I'm
trusting, I know this is good.
I'm trusting that we covered a few important things that someone out there needs to hear.
Exactly.
And are there any intuitive final parting thoughts that you have for us?
Yeah. You're meant to do it. That's the thing. Like I'm not really about desire in this moment. And I think what happens is, desire, the root of the word is of the Father. And so if you have a desire to start a new program or do something, it's easy to minimize that or talk yourself out of that. But if you understand that's God speaking through me. Oh, that desire. Oh, then the world needs it. Somebody's praying for us. Somebody's literally, if you're listening, somebody's praying for you to step up and say, okay, you can see me now. Because a lot of people, I have visibility issues. A lot of people I work with, I have trouble being seen. You're great with visibility. You got it nailed. But a lot of people have a hard time talking about themselves or selling themselves or raising their prices or being in the vibration that their people need. And I need you to hear that somebody is literally praying for you. You are the answer to prayer for somebody. So get your shit together and get out there. Like work with Alicia or myself. Like I hope that motivates me. Understanding that I got to be out in the world because I've contracted on a soul level with certain people I'm supposed to help. And so that is what drives me. So just the remembrance that you are an answer to somebody's prayer.
What a beautiful way to end the segment. Thank you again, Therese.
Sure. It's been lovely. Thank you so much for having me. This was a wonderful conversation.
And thank you to everyone who is listening. This is why we're doing this work. We're doing it for you. This is our way of stepping up and saying yes to that inner calling.
Mm-hmm.
And if you haven't already subscribed, make sure you do so. We'll see you in the next episode.